No. All right. Fine, Bruce. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
America,
and
and
to the
to the
republic
republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We're going to immediately enter an executive session. Board of Allyn Board Commission will now meet to accept potential litigation as allowed by RTW 42-30-410. And we will be in the executive session until 09:30. And we will not be taking any further action for any potential litigation following the executive session. We're not expected to. All right. So the executive session begins right now. The 9:30. I call the special meeting back to order. We're recording right now, yeah. 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 Special meeting back to order. Thank you for your patience. That. Pardon me. Just trying to figure out.
First time it's public comment section before action.
Oh, yeah. You kind of shaded that. I know, that's my eyes. All right. That's funny. All right. So, yeah. So now we're going to go ahead and put out there, if anybody wants public comment here in person first. And then we'll move to Zoom. Okay. Okay, fair enough. All right. Yes, online.
Herb.
Who is it?
Herb, he has his hand up.
Okay, Herb, go ahead. So you can public comment for 3 minutes if you don't mind.
Okay, yeah, I'm Herb Gerhard. I live here on
Turn that up.
North Shore in your district. And my comment is I've been hearing more and more stuff about the sewer system expansion into the.
Go ahead, so you public comment for 3 minutes if you don't mind.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm Herb Gerhard. I live on North Shore in Belfair, part of the district. And I've been hearing more and more comments about the expansion of the Mason County's, the Belfair sewer system into the industrial area. And I'm Herb Gerhard. I live on North Shore. Uh-oh, I'm getting an echo back.
Yeah, that's on your end, Herb. I'm not sure. Is that our? Okay. Sorry about that.
We hear you fine.
Oh, okay, I'll ignore the echo. The comments are made that as long as you can hear me, I don't care.
Sorry about that.
So you can hear me okay? Okay. There's more and more comments being made about the big box stores opening up in the industrial area if we expand the sewer. I don't have a problem with that. And the comments are that it will rob Belfair of the sales tax intake for the county, which is a big plus for the county. However, they're neglecting the point that the people that live on the north end in Belfair, including myself, we do most of our shopping in Kitsap County now. I got to drive 25 miles to get to Silverdale so I can go shop in the stores there. I do not go to Shelton at all, ever, hardly ever. So either I have to shop in Belfair or I shop in Kitsap County. So the sales tax, if you move a big box store to the industrial area, I would love to see a Costco come so I don't have to drive so far. That's my biggest expenditure. The it's not gonna have an impact on the sales tax in Mason County that I can see. So that's a misnomer, and Randy is spreading that word around that it's gonna have a big impact. So if I can save driving 20, an extra 20 miles to go shopping, I'm all for it. I'm saving on the gas and the aggravation of driving, and at my age, I hate to drive. So
Yeah.
I promote the expanding the sewer system to the industrial area in Kitsap County. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Anybody else online that has, wants to make a public comment? Feel free, Mr. Van Buster. Want to have a chime in? Or not? Okay. All right. All right, we're moving along then.
Staff changes due to port employee injury.
How's Don doing?
Okay,
Yeah,
we're thankful. That's a huge blow to how everything is maintained around. So Don was our only asset with the exterior of the property. There's a couple of options that we can go with. Of course, it all requires us to spend money that we hadn't anticipated spending. The thing that the commission would not want to not pay Don what we thought.
Mhm.
And I have just made the command decision, that's what will occur at this point. Once he goes on light duty, we can work with Allyn to get a subsidy amount for that. So,
offset.
yeah, correct. But someone who's been helping out at a volunteer basis every now and then needed is Rob Schmidt. And he is a former facility maintenance person, has a lot of skills in that department. And if commission would approve it, I would have him come down for a limited amount of hours to take care of some of the shortfall. And to take
What do you
care of
do?
the house.
What are we looking at, Travis, as far as, I mean, yeah, or you're looking at a part-time?
Yeah, it'd be about a part-time position, about half of what we pay on. I mean, on an hourly basis, what we pay.
For a few months.
Right, for a few months.
Do you need our approval? Because
I think it would be, I would prefer approval on,
Well, we
on
can't-
bringing him on, because we didn't really need to put him on as a part-time employee, so the liability covers. That's
you know, we can't make a decision today, so.
right. No, you can't, because this is the beginning of our special. This is the
Right.
topic
Okay,
that's
gotcha.
listed as possible.
Okay.
We're not in the woods.
Thank you.
The other thing is that I can increase Justine's hours a little bit. So that she can take care of some of the cutting grass on the property. But the other thing that Don does, you know, Don also, you know, makes drives every 2 days over to the most store, grass from there. Facilities, that's something that I don't have any capacity to do with the amount of workload I have. I totally understand that. So, this is going to dip into that extra money that we acquired in order to, you know.
Question. North Shore, how big is that? Is that a dumpster?
Well, we
Is
would
that-
have to mix up garbage and bring it toward us.
Oh, okay.
We only have dumpster two. It's just transport.
Twice a week.
Yeah. Depends on.
The two garbage
During
cans?
the summer, it's a lot.
How many trash cans? No, there's one.
So, no, one or two.
There's
Three?
Well, something I might be able to do. I wouldn't, would cost me more time and money to bring it here, but I have a dumpster that I haul on. other
And
weeks,
because we
so.
don't care of it.
As long as it's not here. Appreciate it being gone, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me talk to you later.
Okay, so yeah, it's just a matter of approving being able to bring Rob on in this, you know, emergency capacity, et cetera.
And I'm willing to help.
Right, and, Commissioner Curtin has already taken out on Sunday into the lots. The big thing is we have weddings that are scheduled and the gazebo needs to be wrapped for weddings, and it's always cleaned before wedding. It's nice and stand. There's, meter reads have to be done.
Yeah,
And that's a 2-day job for somebody to go up and make sure they get all of them. They say a 2-day job, that's just sort of.
something that doesn't have the
Sure.
experience.
And in the massive amounts of area on our property that the grass grows, lawn tractor can't really get to. There's hours of weed. There's growth on all of the shrubbery and stuff gets cut down, all to, makes it got to fight, but it all takes time.
Yeah, you don't realize what you have, right, until, I mean, everything, look, the park always looks good, and then, man, you can't let that go, so.
Sure.
I see that we have some good we really do have some options, which direction we go and meet in the park, that all of the above, like the commissioner is willing to do that, is really remarkable, and then the extra time for your staff to do that, combined with, I just want to minimize the impact of the cost as much as possible, of course, that's just the bottom line.
And the idea is.
Without impacting Don, actually, well, what I think, I would be in total support of ensuring that we're taking care of Don along the way. Why he takes care of us, he's gonna continue to be here, but he just physically can't do the work. Right?
So, yeah, once he goes on light duty, he can be here on property and he can wheel himself around, I assume, we don't know that until after today, whether they're gonna need to do surgery or if they're gonna walk gas, so.
Or somebody
We're
just
gonna find
try,
out later.
somebody's just,
And as long as he's on site, to be able to tell
yeah,
anyone what needs to be done,
Yeah.
when, that's half of that,
yeah.
so.
I mean, is there any, it's just a thought, right? I mean, literally, if we had a radio with somebody helping him do what he needs to do out there, would Don be game and open to doing and helping you administratively, to utilize his time in the office up there? Since he's on light duty?
And on that light duty portion, I think Don's expertise is going to be mostly in just facilitating people to do the work outside.
Okay, fair enough.
I think interior administrative office tasks are.
Okay, got it.
All about.
All right, understand. Okay, any other comments or concerns, conditions?
I'll talk about North Shore pickup on the trash. We'll get more detail.
And my plan is to minimize the impact as much as possible. We've got a couple of high school volunteers that will be out of school here soon, and they've voiced interest in, getting nice letters of recommendation for their efforts. So, that care could contribute to a lot of the work that we've done, but we still need somebody who's got that vast amount of experience, so maybe a couple of hours a day. And, doing meter readings and stuff like that, where, it doesn't take them any real time to pick it up. So. That's where we're at.
What about volunteers? Well, I mean,
We've got some angles there, it's just, you can only get so much
well,
from.
here's an example, like, and we obviously have some, the idea of the North Shore, even though you say, is, if he was on light duty, but, he could go with somebody to go to the North Shore, and they could do all the trash picking up, and put it in the back of the truck. A volunteer or whatever, that's something, all those things to consider, but okay, all right.
Yeah, that is there grass there that needs to be mowed.
There is top grass. Yeah.
So,
No,
and you guys use this
it's just.
same line lawnmower or?
No, it's all the grass on the North Shore.
Weed grass, should we take weed grass? Up to, I think. Work out the next.
Okay.
Do you need a motion?
That's the motion to, approve me going after additional support.
Okay, make a motion. I make a motion for just that.
Okay,
Second.
okay. All All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, just pursue our best economic options for not falling
I
short.
know where the money's at, so I'm not going to.
All right,
That would conclude the action, the items and special report and they moved it to the
workshop. Yeah, we are in the workshop now. I hope, well, so this is the end of the special meeting. Now we're still in a special meeting.
Still a
going to the
special
workshop.
year end of the actual items.
Okay, I understand. So just to clarify that. Potential actionable items are concluded there and we'll continue on with the special meeting into our regular workshop discussion. Okay? Public welcome, encouraged to attend all meetings. However, public comment is usually not taken at briefing workshop. The exception to that is a discussion with, Mr. Carey when it comes to the water system, who's fully engaged with us and improving on that. So other than that, public comment will not be taken. All right, so port regular business and administrative improvement. Where are we at with that right
Well, there was a lot going on.
There is.
Trying to keep it as brief as possible.
Okay.
There needs to be some time bound. They're working on some policy rework and additions.
Okay.
And amendments. So I just wanted to list a few of those and we could discuss and others that they thought maybe need attention.
Okay.
With the records retention policy, didn't we?
We did a
Yeah,
public-
let's
we did
do
a
it.
public-
Okay. What are we currently doing?
We don't currently have a full policy per se for public records retention, we just follow some laws,
Okay,
but we should have it.
okay,
And, one thing is you have to have time to work with retention.
Yeah.
And be there.
Yeah.
Putting it in daily. We hope to see some time over here.
Yeah, when we do, I think one of the things that's always helpful in you're networking with other ports and some ports might have some better in-house policies better than
I
others.
have a template that's
Yeah.
good to work. And show how to tailor it.
All right.
The donation policy, we don't really have. But
We should.
We should, and we do have, I've taken a few phone calls of some people wanting to make, some monetary donations.
Really?
So,
I would say that, well, that would be really important, very important.
so I think a donation policy should, be worked up, and I have several examples from other ports.
Okay.
In Kitsap County that I received here last week.
It doesn't have to be too extensive, I mean.
And we already have a donations form used. I would just like more extensive policy. If somebody wants to donate something pretty extensive, I think sometimes it'd be better for them to present information.
Yeah,
But the
okay,
commission would-
yeah, okay. You want approval on those things? No,
There's
No, I mean, are
we
you-
haven't created the document.
but are you gonna need approval to? We're have to approve the policy, but you
Yeah.
don't need approval to work on the policy, right?
No, the policy will have amendments in it that
All right.
really say, someone wants to donate over this amount of money, it doesn't just come to the office, it comes to the commission. The commission approves.
All right.
Receive the next
I
month.
like that, okay.
And then, of course, our facility use of policy rental agreements, still need attention after we discuss that.
Yeah, really. Where are we at with that facility use policy and rental agreement? It's like, there were a couple things going on. And that's help me with this, but basically we're looking at how do we deal with the small business that wants to come and use the place as opposed to somebody who's just doing some community effort right here in this building.
It needs to be more defined, and that's.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? I mean,
Making those recommendations, maybe getting it on
Okay,
paper for you.
so you were,
I have what I need there.
Okay.
It's just a matter of spending. the
I get
time
it. All right,
Right now, time.
so that's still
Right.
something you gotta
And then, yeah,
do, you know, I know your staff is, you lean on them to help your staff, but, what about volunteers helping us with those things? You know, writing up,
the volunteers are a variable that you can't always count on.
okay, back to that, how many volunteers do we have? I know we have, putting
We
aside,
have a variety of volunteers that come and do it.
okay, when they want,
So,
okay.
and when they want. So, there's,
How many would you say we have? Half a dozen?
yeah, probably more like that.
Okay,
But they all have limited availability and they're people they're interested in.
they just show up mostly and just say, I'm here to help.
Yeah, or they present an idea that they would want to help on.
All right. Is there any-
And I flow with that. If
Okay.
it's something that's,
And it says,
outside of, being a liability problem.
okay, so is there any interest amongst, I think it aligns with this regarding trying to find a way to move through items like this, but is there any way that any of one of the volunteers seem to be somebody that wants to kind of be the point of contact to
No,
communicate?
there's no one
Okay,
that's-
we're
they
still
wants
needing
to
that.
take that kind of.
Okay, fair
Now,
enough.
there's, a possibility that connecting with the Allyn Community Association would kind of, spur that kind of enthusiasm. But it's not something I have a whole lot of time to
Okay,
get out there and drum up, so
all right,
I'm trying to limit my responsibilities to the finish up.
okay,
But that's one of the reasons we moved our regular meeting is so that perhaps the commissioners would, attend those Allyn Community Associations, bring that volunteerism into the forefront, because there is some desire there. It's just they haven't been able to really be because of conflict of time.
and just a reminder to the commission on that note that I won't be at the next meeting that you guys have. Wherever.
I have it written.
Next week.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so. I don't forget to. Okay, so,
Sea lions in return.
yeah,
That's
What?
Yeah, we've got anywhere from half a dozen to almost 2 dozen coming back.
sea lion.
Second from the there.
First page.
Yes, right there.
Oh, a little line that threw me off, okay. I'm
No.
sorry.
So no damage, of course. Everything's protected. We do have some boats coming in to moor here pretty soon, and maybe that residents will keep them away.
So Rob Schmidt, he's the one that I reached out to.
Right.
And he was out of town.
Yeah.
Back, he was gonna, I reached out back to him.
Yeah, he's back in town. He's gonna be out for like 4 more days to a family thing.
I'll tell you what,
But he's gonna be back for solid.
when you touch base with him, you give me a call,
Sure.
and then I know that he's on solid ground here. I'd rather be playing phone tag with him, because, I've got an idea for that down. What that can look like. He's open to helping me draw it out. I believe that's where his skill set is. All right, so we're gonna move on to there, unless there's more on that note. Okay. Water system development. Testing the Department of Health. We've come back and ready for submittal. Routine test happened to you do at the end of the year on both systems. So came back with passing grade for truly left with amazing water quality. All right. Once our engineers finish the bid documents, the packet will be ready to go out for bid over the MRSC statewide system. Okay. Packet ready, water system and the water system testing are the last comment requested by DOH for the approval of consolidation. All right. Any further?
Do we know when we're gonna have that back from them yet?
Very. No.
They're supposed to have it back to you, right?
They're
taking more time for the water policy.
Mr. Chair.
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
Okay,
Your
yeah.
voice a lot, it's, you know, if you're moving on to the next, and when I speak, and get the line.
Chime in here, but I'm saying, okay, well, let's go ahead and do that unless the commission wants to. Okay, yeah,
Secretary. One is just what the question, where was it, or where, but, with regards to life system, that you might be want to be thinking about the comprehensive plan we need to update this coming up. Because part of the reason I bring this up is we've been at this, one way or another between, Travis and I, 9 months. For the time, we finally got the engineer to agree, that we all three agree on a process for tying together, and that it would be facilitate my own system, the core system, and all that, to where we are today. And we're still having it, and what I'm concerned about is, you know, things are happening, and people want to go, and, you know, in the flat, and my thing is, well, not, stuff's happening, but it's taking on forever, which Travis and I talked about, but where I'm going is that, I think the board should be thinking about this plan that, you know, it was a complete plan. This is the one originally started in 2012, or that in 2012, for a while, picked up in 2017, final version of 2018. And when when the court did that plan, it took more than a year. And so, and remembering that the plan that you're approving right now, we're working at is the merging of the two.
yeah,
So that basically is, it's still a system of basically 100, either 32, 36, whatever it is, plus the 15 and the blind pool system. And so that pretty much puts the limit on where that goes until the complete plans are updated or reviewed. And I've talked to Travis a little bit about maybe some things incorporating into that merging of the systems that are more modern that will facilitate that, you know, updating that plan. But what I'm concerned about is that it's taking us 9 months to do what I think, personally think is an easier portion. It's just a little segment of the plan versus going through the whole, again, the whole plan. It could easily be more than me. And if the plan has the capability of people willing to invest to get developed for the quicker. So if we go well beyond 36 plus 15 metrics in short order. And so what I'm asking the board to think about is in the next meeting to, assuming we have the funds, assuming that there's a plan how to work it with the budget, to begin that process of updating your comprehensive plan.
Oh, I
and
see.
our system.
wow,
Because there's aspects which I mentioned in previous meetings where I believe, and I do know the engineer, your engineer, was with some more documentation and best documentation of my system, that the number of connections can increase with very little infrastructure cost to the port. In other words, the way we're being laid out, we need to do more tanks, more pumps, more something. The way is, if they use what I gathered this data through my system, and actually that applies, it should apply, because we're servicing many of the same types of segments of the users here. That you should be able, in my judgment, with what the engineers laid out, be able to add at least 100 more connections without,
really,
you know, to develop some paper extensions that also don't have to occur.
I understand,
But
that's significant.
How would you want to change the comprehensive plan? Because it's kind of in there already.
say that again.
How would you change the comprehensive?
No,
plan?
it needs to be updated. It needs to be updated. Whenever you have water rights.
Yeah,
300 feet. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, because we barely kissed.
Yeah.
That, I think we're confusing the comprehensive scheme with the water system.
okay, gotcha.
Well, here's my question on that too, is, like, first things first, right? So we would want to do that, knowing that we've got something that shows us that that would happen,
Right,
right? And then we'd be like all over it.
so what I'm saying is that there's different aspects to this comp plan, or when I say comp plan, twice.
Okay.
And some of it is nothing more than stuff that items that Travis is doing right now with policies and things like that. That's administrative things and no, you're not gonna be able to get on that level.
Okay.
That's gonna take, thinking, maybe the water committee can help with some of that, but there's a lot of, I would say, court centric, executive decision type process to that.
Okay.
Where I'm getting at is, if you could start working in that process, or at least get the engineer to spec it out, give you an idea where it's going, and give them your concerns and what you're trying to meet, that process can be underway, and my gut feel is, this, well, I know Department of Health, it's gonna take, if everybody hit their window, the quickest you're gonna be able to do this year. And I mentioned this to Travis too, just because it's, even if everything's there, it's 2 to 3 months of engineering, putting their stuff together based upon what we've seen so far. And then it's 9 days to review. I put quotes, it can always change, but I've never seen Department of Health.
Good quick.
Well, not so much go quick, but not have a markup copy after you submit the plan. Everyone we submitted with the report, the one I've ever submitted, it's always come back with, anywhere from 6 to 20 different things to look at, to address. And so if you have 3 months here, 9 days with state, a month or 2 to address those concerns, another 90 days to review. By the way, in there, you can work your meetings where the board is approving. And that's saying the board has no changes, or that we come up with no changes in the process. You're talking about year.
Yeah.
And all, but I understand the finances obviously very well. So it has to be dovetailed into that. But I think if you have a plan, that process can begin. And so that you're not, so to speak, waiting to the very end and then start doing it, from that point. And all I'm concerned is that there's, I don't know, perhaps roughly 30 at this point left.
Third, connections.
Yeah. Or is it even less now?
No, there's closer.
50 connections?
That didn't have to update. Solidified it.
Well.
Yeah.
There's what everybody's talking about, maybe it counts on the or whatever.
Okay.
Documentation. So where I'm going is that, if people want to spend the money, and one segment of land I know above, in the fact, it would not take a lot of money. Saying it was another 10,000. And there's another segment, we bring another 6. Bang. And what I'm thinking, bring, potentially another 8, so. It just. The board needs to be thinking that, the board needs to make that they should or go through the due process and then. Do resolution or motion or whatever. Okay, Travis, to proceed in that direction. I think you have to have caveats on it, so that, depending on what's happening, what's happening with the development report, you can kind of like, oops, stop here, or continue on, or, some checks and balances, or kind of say.
Yeah.
Oversight.
I'm sorry if I fell short here. Eight what? An additional 8 is what you're.
No, I'm saying, with little bit of it, like one extension.
Okay.
Board system, 300 feet,
Oh, okay.
thing, that was another 10.
Oh, okay. Oh,
If they decide to go different route, there's another 10.
okay. That's
Like,
fine.
it might get them done, there's another.
Oh, because you're looking,
So that's how you're coming up. Okay, I got it. That's how you're coming up
Right,
with the.
so, I mean, you have the area that's expanded into what it's a housing up in that area there.
Okay.
So all I'm getting at is, like right now, any of us that are crossing my old line, we'll be just sitting wait,
That's true.
and you can't do anything. Now, if they found the existing line, they can do something at this point. But that just kind of, you know, highlights the fact that what happens when you have to get through all the regulatory stuff to get going. That, you know, 9 months a year is a long time in developer work.
Okay.
So, on, giving you a background saying, you know, we
Yeah.
have to look at this.
Well, it makes sense.
Back to the comprehensive.
Yeah, it makes sense we get going on that as soon as possible anyway, because we want more connections. As
What's
soon as
the-
possible.
Are we looking at a lot of extra language or I mean, probably just a small section of the comprehensive, right?
I have my.
Okay.
My,
I think that's where we're gonna start at.
I think our policy sections will be updated. Personally, I think I have engineering sections, because as hard as I try, I'm used to, you know. I'll say I'm in the numbers, but you get into some funny expressions of numbers when it comes to engineering.
Yeah.
But to the best of my ability to read your plan and to equate to the states, there's some question in my mind on how they evaluate this.
Okay. That's not, I'm not surprised. Like with your,
I could not figure out how.
okay,
They gave you tables, I could work it out with my system, but never quite
mean-
pencil out the numbers to come out, right?
I mean, how much more that would make it difficult for the average person to figure out, let alone somebody who's been in that business the whole time.
But see, I think the engineer has a part in his head, or it's dead, of what had to occur.
Okay,
I'm not an engineer. I'm always more optimistic that things can be done because I know they can be done well. Then it comes people factor, the third factor, just, you know.
so correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a big value in with what you're doing with the engineer that will help us with what that language should look like.
Right.
Cause it's gonna be documented.
Right, but he's not keeping, like Michael's request, not documenting certain things right now. And like I think they mentioned several months back, if he's close, and I'm on the conservative side of what he said.
Okay.
And he's the engineers are conservative, but I'm conservative to what he said.
Okay,
If he's close to what he's saying to be done, you know, very quickly this thing gets flipped around and all of a sudden, you know. That's why I say flipped around, meaning the expansion can occur, you're not overtaxing that well.
yeah,
I was surprised that you know, that's totally switched, that, because, you know, years ago, I was a little open child and before. 8 years ago, but I'm saying now, you know, switching from that well to this well, that one's gonna be better. And this will be the matter,
yeah,
and if he does, what he's, the engineer does what he's laid out, Travis time. You know, yeah, it will give you reliability, it also solve one other thing, this initial base solve will allow to fix some of the low pressure houses you have on your system.
okay.
You know, the consolidation of the system involves low pressure.
I mean, obviously, it's the money.
Say that again?
Consolidation of the two systems, they all are integrated into feeding into the tank,
Right,
solves the low pressure system problems on levels.
okay,
It's a more technical now.
It's a little more technical than that, and there's.
I like that
Point
answer,
where
though.
the line will be connected at various points, but that will be the end result of the construction.
Cause you're talking about how you do that is
Yes.
different than the answer, but I just like the answer.
That's fine.
I mean, you know.
Not saying that's a drawing, make a straight report.
Okay,
I'm saying that, you know, we're engineering wise, that's not exactly what's occurring, but.
oh, it's not?
Well, you have three different levels of elevations.
Yeah,
The one below 140 your gravity,
okay,
which is pure. You had mine, which is 175 to 90,
okay,
but you can bump it up. And then you had this area that the one was considered, it's up to 265. The way, my mind is laying it out, I would say all but the last, say 15 lots of the plat can be serviced between those two areas, how we're working with this concept I laid out on him, and he tested it out, modeled it out, engineered it out, and said, okay, with this and the treatment of this, we can do this, and all of a sudden, we're servicing all mine, all yours, plus,
So are we gonna have to add hydrants up there with any of it along the way?
I would change that word from wait.
Okay,
I don't know, that would be a requirement.
The developer is responsible for all of
Yeah,
it.
we don't have to do it. We speaking as the board. we
Okay.
don't have to do it.
that,
I as though would have to.
okay, so that's what I want to know. Okay, but it would have to happen, but it goes back to the you.
Depends how many customers are buying it and stuff.
Okay, no, that, I like that, because I,
But I, over a year, I have not been able to submit a design because I don't know what this final design is, it's not approved, and so, you know, so I'm sat back here, ready to go a year ago.
yeah.
Actually, a year ago, May, after we closed out.
So I like how this is playing out, motivating factor on your part, the end game here, you know, because, and it's good that you have a vested interest in it, not just because you care about the sport, but also because of the business aspect of it. It really is a healthy, balance, in my opinion. Right.
If you can treat both parties equal, then it's not a problem.
Well, you gotta be that.
A lot of people, I mean, I understand, they call it conflict of interest.
Yeah,
It sounds bad, but, you know, I understand this side has a value and this side.
right.
And yes, you can take it someone else's cards, it's like, years ago, when we were working on, not for now, there were things we were doing zoning wise that would hurt me, but it helped the community. And so, and vice versa, so I understand how to do a little give or take that, and
Yeah.
the same things here true with water.
Okay.
There are things I wish we could do differently, but speed up the process, but.
Yeah.
At least we're moving in that direction, and
Exactly.
all I'm saying is, the sooner, you know, I was hoping that the tie in would be a little quicker, so.
Okay,
Anyways, I know,
all right.
yeah.
Anything else there?
No, the other little minor that's kind of tied to it is the, Travis's trying to work the agreement between Europe and the board, as far as the data issue.
Okay,
And I can use that yesterday, because it's drawn, and others aerial. And up to this point, I've hired a firm to come in and do drone flight over the flat, you know, like every 6 months.
oh, really?
And so I can track what's going on. It's not near exactly what we did, that's why I've not done it here yet. With the forecast.
Oh.
But again, what that does is, once that gets through, the other part of our agreement on the first system, you know, 7K can go to support with the entry.
You have my corrections still to pass back. Okay.
You got to have to do.
All right.
So anyway, that should be coming too. So there's things the board needs to be thinking about. And again, the whole purpose of having the data isn't mainly to form competition before or any angle of that. The issue is I need our data to do the roads, stormwater and stuff like that, and know what stuff is.
Okay,
That's how I've done to this point. But now we have very much more exact. Is that based upon more sounding.
okay.
Other than that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was substantial.
Thank you for.
What happens with the other issues
Yeah,
that we discussed?
yeah,
So it's kind of.
I agree. Yeah. And then it's gonna take a while to do. Starting to move on what that language should look like, but that goes back to the last thing is with the engineers, and so part of the language and updating our comprehensive is the language and, the engineering and the,
The language was,
for update.
in relative speaking, it's not as simple, but that's the easy part in my mind.
Okay,
It's getting the documentation and then proving it. But what I'm just thinking addressing is the more additional connections for, without spending more money for infrastructure.
yeah,
Getting the documentation, documenting it, proving it internally, and then passing it by Department of Health.
And we're moving that direction right now, right?
Yeah, but more towards the commit time to.
So what do we need from the commission and moving forward on that?
My opinion
Yes,
is someone in regular meetings approve that, you know, give Travis the okay to start saying the updating of the water system plan.
Yeah.
I thought the comprehensive one, because now we have these inner ones.
And our committee can help with water.
To a review basis,
all right.
it's a little different. We'll see, I mean,
Yeah, so back to your point, Commissioner, that's what we need to do. I mean, I won't be at the next regular meeting, but I'd like to see it move on. Finding itself with moving forward on that, so.
Yep, I agree.
Okay. Okay, anything else on that? Allyn Waterfront Pier Emergency Repair, that was,
Yeah, just, the, rework that they had going on is being conducted in-house. We will get it prepared and submit that to the building department so that we can have the building permit secured before we go back up to bid again.
and that's all falling under the current grant money we have, right?
Yes.
Okay. I was reiterate that we're still being proper stewards. Okay, cool. So there's nothing really more to be said about that then? You see right here.
No.
And I get the idea of the slanting top cap is, it's not comfortable for the birds to do their business on there. That's the idea. But you can't,
But it has to have an incorporated and grass from the end.
yeah, have to have the handrail. We don't need any cup holders down.
No. Trying to go, we've got a simple design that should, actually fall in line with all the IDC provisions.
Okay,
And, I still look at possibly having an engineer actually look at it, but I think we're gonna.
all right. We already have an engineer working on that? We're just-
No, we don't.
Oh, we don't, okay, so you got it. Yeah,
Just as long as everything falls in line with the IDC provisions. It
Can-
really doesn't happen.
Can you, go back to the original, inventor? That, you know, I can't remember.
Oh, yeah, no, I did contact with her in a few emails and, got the change the slant, but she doesn't have provisions on international building code and what is necessary to get relevant, just what design should look like. Actual specifications.
all right. There's nothing else on that, we can move on to the oyster house and location.
Yeah, so, Chief Scott, Bonnie Knight and I have got a meeting scheduled Friday.
Cool.
We'll discuss more options then.
I do want to thank you for, I know you put a remarkable amount of time into this and had some massive interruption in moving forward on that. Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm trying to get some articles submitted, put them in the paper.
Yeah. I've seen some positive, my wife will read the paper once in a while. Oh, okay, this is what you guys are doing, I know. Anyway. So, okay, anything else on that?
No.
Okay, port safety, security, maintenance.
We finally got, final approval to be able to start washing our surfaces on the docks.
Okay.
So we will no longer need any more permission from the state agencies to pressure wash our documents. That's good news because we really need to pressure wash North Shore dock. It's got very wicked feet.
Is this something that we need to do, like?
That's
in the near
that's
future?
a near future, as the volunteers get out of high school, they're going to get wet.
I will inform one of, them. I might be able to get some.
Thank you. Okay,
The HVAC system, decided it was going to stop working properly. We, went through and contacted several Mason County companies that only found Bradley Air being on the MRS roster. And they happened to be the best price. So got them down here, a run capacitor was damaged on the, heat pump. And the coil was so dirty that it just kept going out of over temperature. So, run capacitor is cheap. You know, right? in the regular meeting packet. So
Okay.
it's done, the system's working great again. And, probably look into maybe a preventative maintenance schedule because that outdoor unit is so close to the road, gets a lot of road cover. And that's what will happen if the heat exchanger can't exchange heat because it's dirty. It literally just stops cooling. We didn't have an issue with the compressor or really any refrigerant, ended up adding like 8 ounces, but you can charge it for it. So it was a minor amount of adjustment. Everything's working good and you can feel it because you're not overheating. So, of course, this morning it wouldn't get hot yet. We've discussed Don getting injured on the job. So we will be going through the LI process with that and moving forward with our alternatives to park healthy. And that would end those report priorities. I would say that we're probably into the Squaxin Tribal community section.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Okay. Squaxin Tribal Canoe Journey.
So yeah, I received a call from Jeremy Walls, one of the tribal council members, about one of their canoe journeys going from Arcadia Beach to Allyn here on July 21st, which is the day after Allyn leaves. And I'm hoping you all have that in your calendar. That would be a very big day for community cooperation. They're going to come down and do a presentation of respects. And I'm working with the Allyn Community Association so that they can set up a light lunch opportunity in the gazebo.
Okay.
When is Alan Day?
The 19th through 20th.
Oh, okay.
So the day, it's the Monday after Allyn.
Right.
There could be as many as 12 other tribal nations participating. They do these practice roads before they do the big one up near Fort Hampshire.
Okay. All right. So the water extension, we're aware of sewer extension, excuse me. We're River Kitsap County Commission. In the briefing packet, there's a Sheldon Nixon Journal letter today. So please discuss the commission's thoughts on that. We're talking about this right here.
Yes, right.
Looking at that.
Well, I think the board should try to make some kind of statement on it. I have my concerns. You know, I'd like to, maybe you know more, Jeff, about what kind of stipulations. I mean, I'm really concerned about not just the loss. I know that Herb had made a comment about the loss of revenue. But I don't want to be locked in to where we're losing potential ability to expand or lose our capacity. So that's my biggest concern, capacity for growth here in Mason County. So
There's also, yeah, I have two sides to this argument. One is Kitsap County road right on top of us, like literally
Right.
on the side of the line, like in a massive way. And but bleeds over to Archie, but it also takes that in reality. We could make we could support one side or the other. But I'm not so sure at this point that that's gonna make a difference whether or not, other than the public comment where we stand. I wanna know more, and it goes back to when I first came in, Commissioner. What does the general public want? I have not had any feedback that gives me any indicator one way or the other. Cause I would wanna lean into, I mean, I have my own personal opinion on it, but that would be put aside, needs to be more weighted on what the community's vested. Or I can go as far as argue the point one way or the other and say, well, I think it's the best interest of the community for this, and that, but I think we need to have the community in our districts, 3 districts, know before we make a stand. I don't, if that's putting something out there, want to get feedback or something before I'm going to kind of put something in writing or voice it. One way or the
Well,
other.
I've had some experience, and we did this kind of again, last year was a little different situation, but one of them, they were very concerned, don't forget, we as taxpayers have been paying a lot of money for this system.
I know.
And I just don't think it's fair that we would not give it away. I would like to see what their proposal is and what I don't want to just give this away in the sense that even if they pay this up front, what is it gonna do for us down the road 20 years?
No, exactly. So it could push the envelope, the window on what the capacity is, just with the bill, the cost of, for
Right.
example, right? And then now there's nothing left for anything else in our sewer system. I mean, and then unless there's more money put in, more infrastructure, energy growth, now,
Then we pay for it.
and we pay for it.
So-
Well, they and us, but
Right.
still, we still pay for it and then what we have now is more than we would have when they get done with it, as far as.
I went to the meeting
Okay.
with Travis. Didn't know he was gonna be there, but I went to the meeting. And my understanding is our capacity, I'm against this, by the way, but to counter my understanding is our capacity for our sewer system was way more than what it should have been. So we have a lot more than what we need, which is part of the problem. But the problem is places like Ace Hardware,
They are,
Mitchell's,
Yeah.
who I actually talked to. I went in, talked to him, gave my card, because I was trying to get some, like you, I want, not my own opinion, but I want businesses that I felt potentially would be harmed by it. And he was concerned, I was hoping he'd be here today, talked about it, but isn't here. But yeah, he's not for it. They see that as harming, Mitch was talking about the phone, said that Ace Hardware would definitely take a hit.
Oh, big
They're
time.
Home Depot. A lot of our businesses take a hit because I go to Ace Hardware going to something small, something that's quick and easy. But if Home Depot is only a few minutes more down the road, they can get the same thing. I would, most people would do that. That's such a huge hit.
yeah,
Ace Hardware, and that takes away our revenue, which, according to, what I've been told, Belfair provides the majority of the revenue for Mason County, because Shelton provides for Shelton.
well, we are a very, very important part of the picture, and that's not, that needs to dive into this conversation, because it's unincorporated Belfair, right, North Basin representation there, and we do have the voice, we have different community efforts that are going on that put out their concern and voice their, where they stand with things, but I agree with you, or we need to move in engage in this in a way where we kind of, as a commission, decide where we go with this issue.
I'm all for economic development. And some, very much so, but it needs to be Mason County economic development. If we put something, if we're gonna put infrastructure and stuff, it needs to be for our benefit, not for another county's benefit. Their argument is, Mayor Bremerton was there and all that stuff, and they were saying, well, it would help our housing because people from Mason County, because our housing is cheaper, the Kitsap County would live in Mason County, and that would help county. But that's all kind of, how's that gonna help develop our businesses? There's a lot of little businesses and stuff. In Belfort, you start putting in super,
Home Depot,
Home Depot's, Costco's, and other retail stores. One, those aren't high paying jobs in the first place. It'd be a lot better to manufacturer, something's manufacturing would be retail stores. But I don't think it's a good idea. I think we're taking on a lot of, it helped the sewer system a little bit, but my understanding is the sewer system is now. A lot more viable than it used to be. They made the corrections. It's gotten better. And now, kind of what you got out of it.
Yeah, well, the sewer system does have more connections and there's only a path, pay the bill. They do have about $4 million surplus currently. They're in another 4 and we can pay the loan, at least that's what. So.
Okay, it's a form here. You want to comment on that?
Well, to be fair for how protocol. Not water.
Yeah, it's not a lot. It has a lot.
Yeah, that's kind of water. Well,
Yeah, it's gonna affect our.
all right.
First,
But also, I mean, it does have, there's still money owed on that system, consider that.
After the meeting, I'm interested.
Yes.
All right, so, all right, next, so this, do we, anything else in that? Wrap up the 35th legislation, that's pretty straightforward there. We don't need to get into that. Review and discuss particular provisions of any board operation.
Yeah, I could let it a write up in there.
Yeah,
If you want to go over it, you can.
okay, let's move on. Sweetwater Creek Park project, let's talk about that.
Sure. There was, during the cleanup, they covered the subject tank. And so it got ordered off, caution tape. The planning started to decommission. We ended up getting a notice from environmental health, or we didn't actually get power load data.
Okay.
You should see it, it's not about the property. So we've kind of been back and forth, it's health, I let them know that, I let them know as we were working out the process. Interesting. Yeah. It's now completely been filled in and come. So
That's awesome.
the-
The DOH.
Yeah, the application that we need to apply has not been finished yet, but it's all done.
There was nothing in it, it's empty.
Correct. Yeah, it didn't even have improvement.
Yeah, all right,
It's been abandoned and covered with gravel for it.
all right, that's awesome.
In fact, the county didn't even know it existed.
Yeah, well, that's how they did things way back in the day, and to find out it's empty, it's good.
It's not a big.
Yeah, and off the highway litter trope, cleanup,
Yeah. So,
14,
board approved that in joint
Yeah.
production with the PCA.
that's
It's,
cool. Everything came
scheduled
together.
for the 14th for volunteers to come and weed the triangle, clean it up and get it ready for, covered with mulch and other.
All right, port safety and security,
No, that's the end of. That's the end of the meeting.
okay.
There's no more
I thought
items.
there was something else there, but, all right. So other than that, anyway, anything, here, Commissioners, you want to add to the end of the thing before I move on?
I don't think so.
All right, okay, we're adjourned,
All right.
meeting's adjourned. She's gonna stop the recording, and then it's official.